Hi guys, you are welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. Today's video I'll be showing you guys on how I recreated this style. This style is beautiful, classy and easy to make. You'll be needing 6 yards of ankara to make this style. One thing I love about this style is because it is versatile. You can rock it in 3 different ways. You can wear it as a long dress. You can wear it as a short dress with the ruched effect. And you can also wear it with the trouser. So if this is what you would love to learn how to make, please sit back, relax and enjoy the tutorial. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, click the red button down below to subscribe and also click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. So without further ado, let's move right to the tutorial. From the 6 yards of African print, I folded my fabric selvage to selvage. I measured 58 inches for the length of my gown and I cut for both the front and the back bodies. After cutting, I'm going to place them on top of each other and start drafting. On my starting line, I impute neck width 3.5 inches, neck depth for the back 1.5 inches, neck depth for the front 3.5 inches. Then I connect the necklines. Please note you can use any neckline of your choice. From my center back to where the sleeve will stop, I use the total length of the fabric. At that point, I came down by 2 inches for the shoulder slope. Then I connect to the neck width. For the sleeve opening, I measured 17 inches. At that point, I came in 5 inches. I ruled that into a straight line. Then from that 5 inches, I measure it straight down. Then I curve the armhole. The wideness is 18 inches. I added ½ inch seam allowance to the shoulder. That's about it, guys, for the drafting. It is very easy. Next is to cut it out. I cut the back neckline first, the shoulder slope, and the sides. Please note, you can make the wideness of the body to be as wide as you desire. Then I cut out the selvage. After cutting, I lift up the front bodies to cut the front neckline. From the center front, I came down by 4 inches. From the folded edge, I slit it open to the 4 inches mark. From my shoulder to the hip line is 25 inches. That is where my casing will start from for the ruched effect, and I notch it. that's about it, guys. Next is to cut facing for the neckline. Please note, I want to show you guys another way to draft this style. I noticed that the style on the model does not have a shoulder slant, and the puff sleeve is very big, is bigger than mine, and the wideness of the body is also bigger than mine, is very big. I purposely made mine to be this way because I don't want it to be too big on me because I'm already on the big side. So if you want to recreate exactly the one on the model, this is how you will go about it. From the 6 yards of your African print, cut out 3 yards. The fabric on the table is 3 yards and you will fold it into 4 like so. I'll be using a normal round neckline for this particular one. So I measured neck width 3.5 inches. Neck depth for the back, I measured 1.5. Neck depth for the front, I measured 5.5 inches. And I connect the necklines. From the center back, I use the total length of the fabric. So for the sleeve length, for the sleeve opening, I measured 20 inches for the sleeve opening. With this 20 inches is going to give me a bigger puff. So at that 20 inches, I came in 3 inches. So the wideness of this is 20 inches. The wideness of the bodies is 20 inches. So with this 20 inches is going to be bigger on the body. I hope you guys understand. The wideness is 20 inches. Then I cut it out. I cut out the back neckline first and the sides. Please take note of the difference. For the puff sleeve of this one, I measured 20 inches. At that 20 inches, I came in 3 inches and I ruled that into a straight line. The wideness of this is 20 inches for the body. So I folded it this way to cut the front neckline. This does not have a shoulder slant. After cutting the neckline, I also cut facing for it as well. For the facing, I'm using this plain fabric because I don't have another fabric from the African print to cut as the facing because I'm using just 3 yards of fabric for this style. So after folding the facing into 2, you place it underneath the neckline, making sure that the edges are lined together. Then you trace out the neckline. After cutting the neckline, I'm going to remove the bodies. Then I'm going to measure 3 inches round the neckline and cut it out. After cutting it out, I'm going to iron stay to the wrong side of the fabric. Then I'm going to use the facing to turn the neckline of the bodies. After turning the neckline with facing, I'm going to measure 2 inches for the casing, for the elastic casing. So I'm going to rule that into a straight line. Then I'll take to my sewing machine. I'll fold in 1/4 inch first and fold on the line and sew it down. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side as well. Then I'm going to measure 14 inches from my elastic and cut it out. I normally use 14 inches for the length of my elastic, so I'll cut that into 2 places. After sewing the casing, I'm going to use safety pin to pass the elastic through the casing. Then I'll show us the next step to take. You'll be needing a bias tape for the rope. So what I did, from my bias tape, I measured 55 inches, and you'll be needing 4 pieces. So you will fold the bias tape into 2 and sew it at the edge straight down. I've turned the neckline with facing, and I've also sewn the casing for the elastic. Next is to pass my elastic through the casing. After that, I'll fold the bodies into 2 and sew the sides with 1 inch seam allowance. I've sewn it, as you can see. And I've also sewn the bias, as you can see. I have this into 4 places. So the next thing to do, notch the armpit area so that the sleeve will relax. Very important. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Notch the armpit area. Then the 1 inch that we sew by the side, I'm going to use it as a casing for the ruche. So what I did, from the shoulder, I measured down 20 inches on both sides. So from that 20 inches, I'm going to start sewing the casing. If you watch the previous video that I posted, you will understand this next step. It is the same process. So what I did, I measured 2 inches from the hem and I notched it and trimmed down the side seam. Then from the 20 inches, I picked 2 bias. I placed one under the side seam on one side. I placed the other under the side seam on one side. Then I fold the edge with 1/2 inch. I'm going to stitch the top and back stitch 2 times or 3 times to hold it down and sew the sides. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. Then after that, I'm going to hem the down part. So this is it. I've sewn it, as you can see, and I've given it a good press. So if you want the puff sleeve to be bigger, use 20 inches. You will have a bigger puff sleeve. So this is how to go about this. I'm still going to explain with the other fabric in case you do not understand this. I'm still going to explain from where I stop with the other fabric. So this is how it will look if you want it bigger, and if you want the puff sleeve to be bigger. So this is how it will look. So let's continue with the other fabric. I've turned the necklines with facing, as you can see. So next thing to do is to place the both bodies together and join them at the shoulder. I've joined them at the shoulder. Next thing to do is to sew the elastic casing. For the casing, I measure 2 inches. I'll first of all take to my weaving machine to weave the shoulder seam before sewing the elastic casing. I'm going to mark 2 inches on the other side as well. I've sewn the casing. Next is to pass my elastic through the casing. For this style, because I use 6 yards of fabric, I have enough fabric, so I cut out the same fabric to form the rope. So I'm going to pass the elastic casing. After that, I'm going to sew the sides with 1 inch seam allowance. I've passed my elastic casing. This is how it looks. So next, I'm going to sew the sides with 1 inch seam allowance. I notch the armpit area. I repeat the same thing on the other side. I notch the armpit area to make the sleeve to relax. When you lift up your hand, you'll be able to lift it up nicely without any dragging. Next, I open it up this way. From the 1 inch side seam, I'll be using it to sew the casing for the ruche. The sewing is still the same process like the other one. So from the hem, I measure 2 inches upward. I notch it. I notch the starting point as well. So I'm going to pick 2 ropes. I'll place one underneath the side seam like so. I'll place the other underneath the other side. So I'm going to fold the edge with 1/4 or half an inch. Then I'll stitch the starting point down and back stitch it as well. After that, I'll move to one edge and stitch it straight down. I'll move to the other edge as well and stitch it straight down. After that, I will hem the down part, and that's about it for today's tutorial. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below if you've not done so. I upload weekly tutorial on my channel. Also remember to click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Until I come your way next, thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye.